Welcome to the Wealth Detective Podcast. Are you ready to become your own wealth detective, to find money in new ways and experience wealth like never before? Well, come along for some wild stories that will teach you, inspire you, maybe even shock you a little bit. And let's get ready to build wealth together. Hello and welcome back to another week of the Wealth Detective Podcast, where we are going to find you more money in creative and fun ways because, friends, money should be fun. And if we would all just relax a little bit and remember that money always comes back. There's always more money. We don't always get more time, but we always get more money, and money gets to be fun. And if we can just play and experiment with it, then life would just be so much better and so much happier. And for some reason, I'm feeling like I need to go on this tangent, not how I was going to start this podcast, but here we go. Years ago, I read a book, and I don't remember the exact title, but it is the founder of JetBlue. Oh, it might have been in The Mormon Way of Doing Business. That is the book. So it was talking about, I believe it was 7 different LDS business owners and things that they had learned and how they had chosen to do business differently or the same as quote unquote non-LDS people. Okay. I want to say it was the owner of JetBlue that shared this story. I could be getting the owner wrong. Go read the book if you want the exact owner, but we're going to go with it is the founder of JetBlue. Anyway, he was saying that one day his daughter, who was 16, backed the car, forgot to open the garage door and backed the car into the garage door. So not only damaging the car, but also damaging their garage door. And his response was, I was more worried about my daughter because I can always make more money. The door can always be replaced. The car can always be fixed. Was my daughter okay? And I remember sitting with that because I agreed with him. I was like, yes, it is true. But it's been interesting as I have shared that story over the years with different people. I've gotten a variety of responses of people being like, but the car and the garage door were damaged. And I'm like, right. But don't you think the daughter and her relationship, and I'm sure she felt pretty stupid and bad about it too. Don't you think that mattered? But initially, most people's thought goes to, what is it going to cost me? What is it going to cost me? Okay. And it's a human response. Don't get me wrong. It is a human response and there's nothing to be shameful about that. However, a way to level up your wealth consciousness is to figure out how to not have that response, not have that be your first response. Okay. Because yes, obviously it did cost money. Yes, it did have to be replaced and fixed. And this is the second people that always say, well, yeah, of course he doesn't worry about money. He's the owner of JetBlue. Let me tell you, friends, the more money you make, the more businesses you have, the more employees you have, the more is at stake. So guaranteed they're worried about money. And I don't even like to use the word worried, but they are aware of money. Because if they fail, it doesn't just affect them. It affects hundreds of thousands of employees, hundreds of thousands of manufacturers, contract workers. Their level of risk to quote unquote not worry about money is so much higher than the average everyday person that it's not even comparable. Okay. And I say this because the more my businesses have grown and the more people that I employ and work with and all these different things, I tell you what, there's been some added pressure because it's if I have a low month, it doesn't just affect me. It's I still have to pay my employees and I'm going to pay them. I still have to pay all the bills. I'm going to pay it. So the risk goes up. The inherent nature of humans to quote unquote worry about money goes up the more responsibility you have, the more money you make. However, those with the highest levels of consciousness also don't worry about money nearly as much as the everyday person. But that's weird, right? Because you would think, okay, well, if they have all this money, but they also have all this responsibility, yet they're not worried about money or thinking about money, they're thinking about the person. Why is that? And I want you to ask yourself, why is that? And how could that be applied to you? Because maybe you don't have employees. Maybe you don't have hundreds of employees, but you have a family. Maybe you don't have kids, but you have yourself and you don't have other people to rely on. There's always going to be something that we can be worried about money. There's always something that can put us in a place of feeling stressed and always wanting to be like, oh my gosh, another bill. Okay. But I'm going to invite you this week to just play with and experiment a little bit with, rather than being like, oh, another bill, another thing, another broken thing. And rather just say, sweet, more money always comes. There's always more money and it always shows up for me. And you say it with that much nonchalance. And then you literally don't give it another thought. Or if something gets broken by someone, such as a daughter, backing the car into the garage door, you choose to think about the daughter. You choose to think about the person, not the expense. Okay. We have centered so much of our life around money that we actually struggle to live our lives. I'm going to say that again. We have centered money so much in our lives that we actually don't live our lives because of it. And I find that the saddest reality of human life. Because here's the thing, when people choose in to what they actually want, the money always shows up. It does. I have hundreds of stories. My clients have hundreds of stories. But it does take a little bit of risk and faith. And I am not sitting here being like, go get into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you consciously say, no, I'm choosing to live my life and I absolutely am choosing to believe that the money will show up, it does. Okay. But it takes a level of choosing that certainty for yourself. Choosing to say, I'm going to let money be playful. I'm going to let money be fun. I'm going to experiment. I am going to not give as much weight to money as I have. I'm not going to make it as serious as I have. Because, oh, friends, that is when it gets so awful and so hard and so not fun. Okay? Because if you're constantly worried about money, constantly stressed about how it's going to come, whether you can actually do what you want to do, sign up for the programs or the retreats that you want to do, it feels terrible. It really, really does. Okay? That's not living. That is absolutely not living. That is letting money control your life. And that was never the point of it. Okay? It's about being in balance. It's finding the balance of saying, yeah, I'm going to be financially responsible. I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to do the things. And I'm not going to let it stop me from doing what I want. Because guaranteed, it is the number one thing keeping women stuck in unhealthy marriages. Money. It's also the number one thing that keeps people from signing up for retreats. Money. It's the number one thing that women tell me why they can't hire the mentor, hire me, hire a different mentor, go on my retreats, join my group programs. It's always the money. Now, let's be real. Money's a really great scapegoat also. So that's a whole different podcast episode. But if you are seriously desiring to do something, I want you to trust in yourself enough to choose in. And there have been many of you that have reached out about wanting to go to Thailand this November with me. And you know that you are meant to be there and that it is exactly what you need. And you are scared. And I get that. And I can have respect for that part of you. And I invite you to really check in. Is it something that you want? And if it is, choose that you get to live your life and the money will show up. But let me tell you, a lot of times the money doesn't show up until you take the first step. It just doesn't. But when you take that step and you step into the dark and you say, okay, I don't know how this is going to work out. Not quite sure where the money is going to come from, but I believe and know that it will. It shows up. Literally, it shows up. I mean, we're talking even with furnishing my house right now. Because if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I sold all my furniture, sold 90% of my stuff last fall. And then I had an opportunity to buy a house. So bought a house in May. And I now have a 2,500 square foot home to furnish, starting from scratch again. And I was not planning on buying a house or buying all my furniture again. Okay. But guess what? I have chosen to say, no, I do get to live in a furnished home. And guess what? The money is showing up, friends. But believe me, when I say I practice what I preach, I am talking daily. I practice what I preach. Okay. Because it has been intimidating to be like, okay, do I really have the money? Am I like, I don't know where the money's going to come from because I'm not willing to take it from my savings. So I'm just going to start furnishing it and walk forward and believe that the money will come. And guess what? It has. And it continues to come. There was a retreat this summer. In May, I was feeling such a need to go to a retreat because here's the thing. When you are the person that is carrying so much for everybody else, you need to be cared for by someone else. You need support. Okay. And I was at a point where I was like, I need to go to a retreat where no one knows me. No one knows what I do or what responsibilities I have, where I can just show up and let someone else take care of me. And within a few weeks of having that thought, I found a random lady on Threads, and she was offering a retreat and was asking for some help with some social media aspects of it. I reached out. I instantly knew she was the real deal, and I signed up for her retreat. Okay. This is the thing. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to know the person that you're going to work with on a deep level. You can trust yourself. Okay. So I flew to Ireland to help out at this retreat with 10 other women that I had never met other than a couple of random posts on Threads. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences. And I let myself be held. I let myself do some deep healing work because I carry a lot. I have a lot of responsibilities and I need others to help support me. So that's what you also need. Okay. And that is the number one thing that women tell me after my retreats. They're like, I didn't have to worry about food. I didn't have to worry about logistics. I didn't have to worry about what I was going to do that day. I didn't have to worry about anything. I just got to rest and be present and heal and cry if I needed to cry, laugh, have connecting experiences, have fun, and just not be in charge. And I don't know how to sell that anymore to people because whether you think you need it or not, you do. And like I said, it's the number one thing that women tell me about my retreats, that is what they absolutely love, that they can just come and not have to worry about anything and know that they will be safe and cared for. And that is what I want you to experience because, like I said, if you're part of my audience, 9.9 times out of 10, you are the person that is carrying way more responsibility than most people should. And it is hard. And I want you to be able to rest, to relax, to rejuvenate, to feel supported, to feel like you have a space where you don't have to be on all the time, where you can just sit there. If you want to be the quiet person, if you want to be the person that just sleeps for the entire retreat and doesn't even participate, that is what you get to choose into. And that is and I can feel your soul's calling it. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. Okay. Your soul is calling for it. So take a risk, take a leap of faith and trust that the money will come. And let me tell you, this is the cheapest retreat I have ever offered. And I don't know if I will offer it at this price again. It is literally half the cost of what my regular retreats are. But it is because I know that more women need this. And I do know that money is a barrier. And so I'm offering it at a lower price. However, I am also raising the price every single Thursday morning. So my podcast comes out on Thursday. This will be your reminder that every time you hear my podcast for the next couple weeks, the price is going up for my Thailand retreat. Okay. And I'm doing this for a couple of reasons, because it's more risk for me. The longer I wait for people to sign up, it is a risk. So I do get to get more money. Okay. That being said, it is also an incentive for you. If you already know that you're in, why not just choose in? Why not just be there and just choose yourself? And I also get it. I have chosen to overpay many times because I waited and I waited and I waited to sign up for something. But then I still signed up for it. I just paid a lot more for it when I was already saying that money was the issue. It wasn't the issue. So whatever you need to work through it. If you need to reach out, I'd love to have a chat with you. I'm not a pushy salesperson. I probably should be more pushy. Okay. I am not, but I will help you answer questions. I will also not force you into it. But if you do have a few things you want to work through or talk out, I am happy to chat with you. And like I said, I can feel your soul's calling it. So let yourselves actually receive what you know that you need right now. And I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And remember that your money and your hell yes life is out there. So let's go find it together. If you enjoyed this episode, there are more tips, tricks, and fun ways to bring in money in my weekly newsletter. Sign up and get all the juicy details every single Monday.